Diane in Denmark here, and welcome back to another one of my Just for Fun videos. Today we've got a little bit of hygge. I've got the candles lit. If you don't know what hygge is, I made a video about it last week. I'll pop a link up there. But basically hygge is a Danish concept of just making everyday things cozy. You can, there are many words for it, like slow living, simple living, just enjoying the moment, mindfulness, all that is kind of wrapped up in a big cozy blanket. And I was at IKEA the other night. You may have seen it on Instagram. I was at one of IKEA's workshops. They have workshops here. And it was on table setting, how to set a nice table for Halloween or Easter or, any time of year. And, even just setting the table, for Monday to Friday with your family. You don't have to have an occasion to set the table nicely. Anyway, at the end of the workshop, we made, we were meant to be making these kind of pom-pom things. And my one, it turned out into a little, let's call it, a little tissue paper flower, which looks quite like a peony. Now, you may have seen this on Instagram. And I brought it home, and I've had it on the table when we're having dinner, and a lot of you say, well, how did I make it? And this is the thing about hygge. If you ask a lot of people about hygge, what is it? And it's that very fact of, just sitting with knitting or crochet or some kind of paper craft, just doing something with your hands. And it doesn't, we don't need to be, knitting a jumper here and crocheting a table runner. Just the very fact of sitting, quietly, with your mind focused on something that you're making with your hands, that is the incarnation of Danish hygge, and that's probably why the Danes are so good at paper crafting. And actually, I've asked one of my friends, and she's going to show you some paper crafts when we get into the videos that I'm going to do every day in December about Danish traditions, and she's going to show you some paper crafts. Anyway, this one is very simple. I'm showing it today just because it's only going to take 5 minutes. If you want to make one, go ahead. If you just want to sit and, be hyggely for 5 minutes, go ahead. All you're going to need is a pair of scissors, and remember, don't take your mother's sewing scissors for this. I've got some sewing scissors, and whenever the kids kind of wanted to grab them for it, and I was like, no, don't take my sewing scissors, because never use your sewing scissors for cutting paper or anything else apart from cloth. Right, a pair of scissors and some tissue paper. Now, you may have some tissue paper that you've got, maybe you bought something in a shop or a store and it was wrapped in tissue paper. You can use that, anything, just use any old thing that you've got. I've also got some sheets, and this is actually from when my daughter was small and we used to do a lot of paper crafts. Take some of that out. Right, better be careful I don't set the house on fire here. And you're either going to need like stapler or some tape. See, I label everything. I've even written my name on it, Diane. That was when we used to take it to school functions and things. Or a pipe cleaner or some ribbon, or just anything that's going to tie this little flower in the middle. There we go. Isn't it cute? Just a piece of paper, and there you go. Right, so first of all, let me get these candles out the road. You're just going to cut several sheets, several pieces of tissue paper. Now, you can either do them like in all different colours or just choose one colour. And, you don't need to measure anything. It doesn't need to be complicated. Just going to fold this. Let me see how many sheets will we have. Right. Down. Right. And basically, all you want is kind of loose sheets of paper, and make it as small, and I try and make them as small as possible because it's also faster to work with. That looks cute. Okay, I'm just cutting. Right, let's see, we've got, and I need to cut them the other way. And listen, if you don't understand the instructions, go look on Google. There's probably 3,000 things on how to make a little flower. Okay, I've done this completely wrong way. Never mind. Hey, nobody's perfect. Where have you heard that before? Right. Okay. Let me see. I've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I'm just going to use 8 sheets of paper. And then what you're going to do is, you've got 8 sheets of paper, and then you're just going to concertina fold them. So you're just going to fold, see, you've got one there, I've started folding, and then you're going to fold it back the way. You know, if you're into serviette folding, this will be easy for you. Fold one way, turn over, fold the other way. Right, okay. And then you'll see if you let it go, it comes out in concertina folds. Okay, so I'll just put that back together again. And then the trick here is, hold on, I'm just going to fold it in the middle. I'm going to find the middle. And I am going to do mine with a staple. In fact, I'll put in 2 just so it doesn't come out. But if you don't want to use a stapler, you can also use maybe a piece of tape. And with the kids, when I used to make these with my daughter, we would just turn that round and then you've got a stalk for your, a stem for your flower. And what you can do here is you can either just cut along the top and make little fringes, or the one that I made the other day, you just kind of round off the top. And listen, don't worry about it, it all looks good. You see, I've kind of rounded this one off. Okay, it's more of a point, but who cares? Right, there we are. See that one? It's kind of rounded at the top. I'll go around the other way. You know what, I was actually really hoogly sitting in IKEA, you know, where all the customers were walking past, and here was us making little flowers out of, and pom-poms out of tissue paper. Okay, and then you kind of pull it out, and this part you're going to kind of be careful. You're going to start pulling the sheets of tissue paper, kind of pulling them apart, and don't pull too hard or you will break the tissue paper. Actually, the lady from IKEA who was showing us this, she used napkins, a bit thicker napkin, and those worked quite well. IKEA have got a type of cloth, not quite cloth, but it is a paper napkin, but it's very, very thick, and they had used those. Right, okay, do you see how it's beginning to build up and begin to get some layers? And this is the hoogly part of it. You know, you can be sitting watching telly and, you know, just pulling it apart. There we go. Okay, I think I've got one more layer on that side. And it's getting these bits of paper apart from each other that's going to give kind of a bit of air into your flower. Okay, see, there's one half kind of done, and then I'm going to do the other half. And it's the same again. Just gently does it. Let's just slow down, slow and steady. I have to tell you, my son came home from school, from high school early today. He's in with the birds, thankfully, keeping them quiet, but he thinks I'm a complete loony sitting here making a video about tissue paper flowers. But there we go. He's also made these when he was younger, yeah. Right. Yay! Look at that. It's beginning to look like something now, isn't it? I don't know what it's beginning to look like, but it looks a wee bit like a flower. And you know what? If it doesn't work, just take another piece of paper and go on. Let me see. I've been doing this for 9 minutes and I talked for about 3 or 4, so you can see how fast it is. There we go. So, right, and I've pulled out all the layers. So it's all kind of frou-frou. And then you can just kind of shape it as you like. And there we are. You have a little peony flower. Ain't that cute? And as I said, there are other ways of cutting at the end. I think when I used to do it with my daughter when she was small, we would just cut into it and it comes out more like not a carnation, I can't remember what the name of the flower is. Maybe I'll do a video about that. Anyway, and then when you're done with it, you can either, you know, as I said, if you had used a pipe cleaner, you know, there you have your little flower. You know, and you could put that on top of a cake, or, you know, as we normally do, you know, just take maybe a wine glass. If you saw on Instagram, my one was in a cake and a wine glass. Or just in some kind of glass thing that you have, glass jar, and there you have it, a little peony flower. So anyway, I hope that was a little hygge time for you today. If you're on Instagram with us, hashtag Diane in Denmark, why don't you have a go? Make a little hygge flower out of tissue paper and, you know, just take a break, you know, let's chill. Right, I'm off to have some food with my son, and I shall see you very soon. Live long and prosper.